Hello, 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 and welcome, welcome, welcome again to the live episode of the Butterfly Evolution Show. We're coming to you on a special night. Tuesday is my normal night, but because tomorrow is Love Day, I decided to do a show today titled "Romantic Love Has Never Been Kind to Me," and this discussion, this conversation, this topic came about from a post that I saw on one of my acquaintances' Facebook page. So I'm excited because I think a lot of us may feel this way, but I also think that we desire, not all, of course, we desire that romantic love. So I'm excited. I'm going to go ahead and bring Miss Lala into the stream. Hello, dear.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good,
Thank you
good.
for
I'm so
asking.
excited to have you. If I may, I'm just going to share before we go into the little housekeeping things. We met in kind of in passing. We never got a chance to just sit and really talk. Although so let me say this. So she and her then husband won a spot to. I did this. I'm trying to think what was the name of the thing that I did. Relationship table talk, I think,
Yes.
something like
And I
that.
think it was for marriages, I
It was for
believe.
married for
Yes.
couples.
Yes.
We did it. Oh gosh, what was the name of the place? I can't even remember, the unpopular, whatever it is, the
Yes.
O Club or something like that. Uh,
It's I can't remember to be
me
honest.
either, but it was wonderful.
It was
So
really
I
nice.
remember you won it at the church at
Yes.
that time, and I don't remember the name of the church, but I they were having something, and I did a giveaway, and you and your husband won
Right.
and got to take the assessment. You guys hear me talk about, I do the assessments, the life language assessment that helps people understand how they are. We often hear about our love language, but we don't really talk enough, I'll say this, about our life language, who we are, because who we are has to show up before we learn or focus on how we love. I
Hmm.
feel that the foundation of love is the found that comes from the foundation of who we are, and
True.
understanding that so that we can help others understand that as well. So she and her husband, then husband, took the assessment, and it's been, I think it was in 2015, I
Yes.
believe.
Yes.
And so it's been a long time since I looked at your assessment. And as I shared with you earlier,
Yes.
I looked at your first three life language and your scores, and I feel I've come so far in learning more about it and understanding it myself, because I was a baby to the entire life language thing. I was a baby to it. Still did my thing, but I was a baby. And initially, when I pulled your profile up after remembering, oh, you took the assessment, let me look at it.
Hmm.
I saw your first three languages, really your first. And I thought, oh my goodness, not any old man is going to do. He
No,
has
ma'am.
to really take the time to get to know this lady, this woman, and understand how she operates.
Yes. Yes,
Has to.
indeed.
Um, and not saying that that doesn't work for the others, but we're just wired different, and
Amen.
that's just the way it is. And understanding how we are wired, it's kind of like our breaker. We got to understand how what which one to turn off, to check, and
Right.
whatever. So it's kind of like that with us. So I can't wait for you to take the second one and then bring you
Me
back
too. Yeah.
to after doing some sessions with you, just to see yourself, because we
Mhm.
didn't do the one-on-one, and so that would
Right.
have been great. So I can't wait for you to take it again. As you all, she's going to take it again, because we do encourage people to take it at least once a year, or
Mhm.
after you've had some life-changing events in your life. So we're going to take that, but that's just kind of how we met. So Butterfly Evolution is about, and I'm coming to you guys from Butterfly Evolution Relationship Table Talk tonight. I'm also including the Bluff City Leadership again, because it's love is truly about who we are, and us understanding that. So we're about transformation, about change, about um, being open to change. And in doing that, I got to tell you about the trash can, baby. I can't forget this anymore, because I feel like it can help people in a soft way begin to recognize the need for change. but even more so, how we get caught up, how we get stuck. Sometimes not knowing that we're just stuck with the same people doing the same thing because it's what we know. And we've gotten so comfortable with it. And change is uncomfortable. If you're talking about transforming your life, changing, understanding who you are, you must be ready to be uncomfortable, period. So, may sound silly, but it works. Move your trash can. And think about this trash can, trash. Think about it. It's stuff that we throw away, that we throw out, but we remember where it is or where we moved it from because we will go back to that place for a while.
Mhm.
I've not heard anybody that I've asked to do this say, "Oh, I never went. I did not go back to where I moved it from." Nobody has said I moved it and I was fine. I went to it. I'd love to talk to that person because I'm going to get with them and stick with them for a while so they can rub off on me. But move
Mhm.
your trash can. Then monitor how often you go back to that location that you moved it from. When you do that, do your thing with yourself. Why am I going back? I moved it. What does that mean? I'm in cruise control. What other areas in my life that I'm in cruise control, that I'm stuck doing the same thing because I know I understand this thing, even though it hurts me, it keeps me in bondage. I know it. So move it, make a game of it, especially if you're a married couple, if you have children, put a chart on the refrigerator or somewhere so that you can keep up with who how many times the person in your household is going back, including yourself. Have a conversation about transformation, change, and what each person feels that they need to embrace or change. So I'm going to have you introduce yourself. Tell us as much as you want or as little. Whatever you don't talk about, we will probably get into it with the questions. And then after you tell us who you are and as much as you want us, I want to go back and read the post that led me to say, oh no, we got to talk about this.
Yes, ma'am.
So, all right. So, welcome, Lala.
Hi, I'm Malala. I am originally from California. I moved to Memphis over a decade ago. I had a scholarship at the U of M to teach, and I have yet to go back. Life circumstances, have happened. So I just ended up becoming an entrepreneur. I worked for FedEx for a little bit of time, a little bit of Amazon. Been married before, twice. Well, actually, three times. I'm sorry. The first time didn't count. um, no, but I've been married three times. Two divorces, one unfortunately by death. And I have a 20-year-old. I'm 42. I'll be 43 March 12th. And I am just a total different person than when you met me. And I thank God for the things that I've been through because I love who I am and who I've transformed into. So I really have no regrets, to be completely honest. I would be a different person had he not allowed me to go through those things. So here I am.
I love that. Powerful. You said I would not be the person I am had I not been, God had not allowed me to go through those things.
Hmm.
I love that. I love that. I was actually having a conversation with a coworker today about the things that kind of just what you said about how we end up right where we are. Because I was telling her, and she was sharing some things with me that questioning like, what if I had not did this? Where would I be? Where would my son be? And I'm thinking, wow, there's so many people you would not have met, so many
Oh, man.
encounters. The transformation, I really don't think I would have endured
Right.
because I think I'm here because of the people that I met around me that were pushing
Mhm.
me to do that as well.
Mhm.
So I see we have some comments, and you guys, thank you. We're going to get to those in just a second. And welcome, thank you guys. But I want to read the post that led me into Lala's inbox. It reads, I no longer have a desire for a husband or a companion. This last month, I discovered a lot about myself. I don't desire to share my space, energy, time, or money. Romantic love has not been kind to me. While I know how to love a man romantically, I've never been loved properly by a man. Life has been hell on earth for me. So I am how I am because I wish I had. me. Amen. Every chance I get, I tell my testimonies. If you desire to have a husband, here is a statement just for you. I support and encourage you to be in love romantically, properly. Love yourself properly first. I pray you receive your heart's desires in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. I am his son wrapped in air as my clothes. I take him to the seventh heaven. He's mine beyond space and time. I am his peace. He breathes better with me. Away from me, he craves all of me, and some. I encourage him. I support his ideas and opinions because I respect him. I respect him because he is consistent, faithful, loyal, and trustworthy. I adhere to his advice because he demonstrates to me daily how disciplined and focused he is. The way he provides for me and makes plans for us shows me he's a man of his word. The way he honors his mother proves to me he serves our Heavenly Father wholeheartedly. That was beautiful.
Yes,
That was
ma'am.
beautiful. Have you read it? Have you read you wrote it, you posted, but do you go back and read it?
To be completely honest, when I read it, God told me to post it. I didn't want to. So I had it as a only me. And I couldn't
Mm,
sleep. So I had to post it. Because I was like, God, I'm not feeling this. I'm not. But I was obedient because, I have to be or I won't get any rest. So
in there.
it's deep.
It is. It's deep, like all of it. So we're gonna tear it apart. And I heard you say, let's start there because I heard you say married 3 times, but one you had a husband that passed away. And I didn't know that until I didn't realize that. So sorry for that.
Yeah.
Was
Oh no,
was
no,
that
that's fine.
relationship different for you? Was that one of the better ones?
Yes, yes. And wow, like he's consistent. Even though he's not desiring to be a husband, he's everything that I put in that post. He is. Once he desires to become a husband, if that's something that he desires to do, um, my God, he will be a great one.
So
Um,
so I was asking, so you mentioned that the spouse that's deceased now,
mhm.
was he one of the better relationships?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Was he the first or second?
The first best relationship, to be
Okay.
honest.
Okay.
It was my second husband, the father of my daughter. And although our story didn't end well, I ended up going to jail for, they said killing him. But to be completely honest, it was self defense. But because it was the first case of its kind, the military wouldn't allow it to go. I was a civilian at the time, so a it was a law had been passed that they were going to be holding civilians accountable for things that happen on military installations because so many civilians were just getting away with crime because they weren't military members. So my case was the first of its kind. So I went to trial a few times. And to be completely honest, it was self defense.
Hmm. Wow, I did
He
not know that, Lala.
Yes, he was a great man. He just made bad choices and decisions. He had a drinking problem, had a lot of demons, that he dealt with secretly, and that he was ashamed of. And he was my friend. He taught me so much, and I loved him. And I believe he loved me in his own way. And still to this day, I raised our daughter based off the things that we, had discussed while he was alive. He's been dead for almost 20 years now.
Okay.
And
So you were really young. You guys were
yeah,
really young.
23 when we got married. And we had our baby 3 years. We were married for 3 years. So she came 3 years later. So we enjoyed ourselves, and
Okay.
then decided to have a baby. But yeah, he was my first true love and experience with love. And we went through a lot. Went through a lot. But this young man that the post is based off of, the latter part, because it's both, would be the second. And he's actually my friend. So we aren't even in the romantic aspect of things, but just as a friend, it's like, wow. And
Okay.
he's my mirror image, which is crazy.
Okay. And so we had a conversation. Do I have that with me? Um, oh gosh, and I don't think I brought it up here with me. We talked because I had mentioned to you, and then I'm going to pull some things out of here that I want to ask you about as well. But I'd ask you because it sounded like the brief conversation that we had yesterday. I think I mentioned to you that I don't know. I kind of feel like
Yeah.
you're gonna have that guy. Like there
Yeah.
is more romantic love for you that I didn't feel that that God had shut that door for you.
Right.
And then I think it was something that you said, I don't want it, but you said something else that made me think, well, you that makes me kind of think you do want it. And so you
I don't
came
want
back,
it in this season.
right, but you don't that you said I don't want to be in someone's season of healing. And I
Yeah.
don't want to say that wrong, but I kind of wrote
He's
it down.
rendering, to me it's the process of rendering when you're being transformed into who you are supposed to be.
Mhm.
And during that transitional period, oh my God, you're so ugly and horrible and mean. And to me, I can only explain it as like the jaws of life being broken in your body. So it's like God just takes you apart, cracks you open, and He's removing your heart. He's removing your organs and then replacing them and refilling them with the great things that are of Him. He has
Mhm.
certain emptiness and certain pockets that only He can feel, and things that only you and Him can get to know each other through. And you got to work through some things, and it's when God does stuff, it's so different. Like you're never the same.
Oh,
I had a drinking problem. I didn't have to go to AA. God fixed it immediately. And I can attest to how He works with everyone else. I don't believe that I'm a special person. I believe that He's no respecter of persons. But if you believe and you truly desire, He's going to kick in eventually. And it's in His timing, not yours.
mhm,
So I got
mhm,
good in the waiting, and having patience with myself, having patience with the process. So, in understanding that, I don't want to be a part of someone's transition, because sometimes you tend to lash out, at people that are there to help because they're the only person that's there, and it's unintentional. So every few days we're going through the, okay, well, I'm sorry. Oh, well, okay. What are you sorry for? Are you going to do
Do
it
you
again?
think that that's solely for because I kind of feel that, and I don't know, some y'all may not agree with this, but I kind of feel like most people think that love, it is a beautiful thing, but I think they feel like you don't have to work in love
You
because
have
it's a
to.
beautiful thing.
You
And what
have
you said
to.
about when you're transforming, you're so ugly. I've never heard it said like that, but I love it. Like because you
Yes.
really are, and you're so up and down and around because
Yes.
it is a dying to self. It
Excruciating.
truly is. It is a slow. I say for me, some people may do it fast. For me, it
Right.
is
It
a
was slow.
slow death.
Yes. Yes.
And I
Yes.
feel that I've changed so much until like I literally want to change my name. I
Me
literally I go
too. Me
through things
too.
where I'm like I don't want to be Tammy anymore. I need a new name and all of this with this
Yes.
new life. But I'm still growing. I'm still
Yeah.
transforming my life. So
Yes.
I loved what you said yesterday. Just to piggyback on it again, that you're not saying no. You're saying no in this season because
Yes.
of the what you're doing, the work you're doing for yourself.
Yes.
And so
And
I had to respect that.
and I'd be lying to say I can't, again, I can only speak for myself. From the time I wake up in the morning and leave the house, there are men, that are, hey, let me take you out. Hey, let's do this. Hey, let's do that. And good looking, well to do, from all types of different walks of life. But I know that in this season, for me, I have a lot of things that I need to work on. And then even in trying to be someone's friend, they'll say, oh, okay, we could be friends. But then it's still the pressure of, well, what if? And Can we be friends with the possibility of? And it's like, sweetheart, I already told you how I was in the beginning. I just need someone to be my friend. A friend gets to know me. A friend isn't concerned about trying to date me. A friend doesn't have prior intentions, post or pre. It's, you just want to get to know me. Let's go play basketball. Let's shoot pool. Be my friend. Get to know me. Because we may decide that we don't even want to pursue anything besides the friendship.
Right.
So I'm stuck in that because people want to speed date and marry me when
Oh, wow.
I know who I am. I know I'm a wife and I'll make a very good one. But I've been a wife to 3 men that weren't my husband. So
Oh,
even
wow.
even
Wait a
though
minute. Say that again. I've been a wife to 3 men who were
who
not my
were not my husbands, they were not my true love, which was my second husband, the father of my daughter. I loved him. He loved me, but he was in love with someone else. But she had screwed up, and I was his piece. So we ended up together by default. So and we were really good friends prior to that. I was in the process of a divorce as we were friends, and he was my go-to. We played basketball, we wrestled, we boxed. So he was my good friend. And though my last husband, Grady Henderson, oh my God. Yeah, definitely not my husband.
Hmm.
Not.
So oh gosh, let me ask you this. We titled this, and I kind of played with it a lot. We're going back and forth. What should I title this? And we ended up with it came right out of the post. Romantic love has never been kind to me.
Mm-hmm.
How much? How much goes into the picking of these men? Because I love what you said about the speed. If they want a speed date,
They do.
and you're just not
Um,
up for that. How much was that? Were they speed dates?
no. To be
No.
well, Grady was, which is my last husband. Yes. My first husband, no. We got to know each other. Again, we became really good friends. We dated. And then got married. Same with my second. We dated, then got married. Grady was like, he swept me off my feet and poof, didn't know him, and we were married. But
Were there red flags like after the divorce, and maybe you sit with yourself?
yes,
Did you
yes.
remember start to re?
Green flags, white ones, yellow, red, lots of red. Um, lots of red. But at the time, I didn't realize that I was helping and enabling my own enslavement and imprisonment, and I kept marrying the same spirits in different people. So,
Say that
and
again. Say that again.
I kept marrying the same spirits in different people. So once I had to reevaluate myself. I had to go back to that child where my trauma happened and get counseling, go through a self help, self love, self confidence type of awareness, transition, whatever you want to call it, to where why do I keep experiencing these things? Why do I keep attracting certain things in men, whether they're my friends or romantic, type of relationships? Because just like God has a playbook for you, the devil does too. So I
Mm,
had to learn the devil's plays and realize, oh, wow, well, even though that's a different person, that spirit that was in this other person is now in this person too. So I have to see, oh, there's a red flag on the field and I'm good. I'm gonna set it out. I'm gonna go sit on the bench, throw somebody else in because I'm not equipped for this yet. And here's the white one because no, I'm gonna need God to continue to work on me so that I won't have to encounter this spirit. And even if you're healed and delivered, you're still gonna be tempted by the enemy. So we forget that part, as well. We're walking around thinking we're all saved and holier than thou, not realizing that the devil's been here for thousands of years. I'm 42. So I don't have anything on a 2,000-year-old person.
mm.
They do what's effective. They're not smart. They just keep doing what's effective. Spirits are spirits and they can jump. They transfer, it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to allow them to run havoc in your life. And in my choices and decisions, I just started to realize I have to be closer to God and whatever choices I have. Sometimes your choices aren't favorable. If you have two men that you're dating, you want to go with the lesser of the two evils. If there's one, that he makes you feel good, but you know that he's not good, you don't want to date him. You're going to go for the man that maybe he's not as attractive, but he does what you ask. He respects your boundaries that you've set. While the guy that looks good and makes you feel good, he don't respect your boundaries. He's constantly
Doesn't
pushing them,
even care about them
doesn't
sometimes.
care about them because he's
Right.
selfish and wants what he wants. And
Do you
being
feel the
women,
more that you get to know yourself, the more you are able to see with different eyes and see these things? And I
totally
think we do
different.
see it then, but we don't have because we've not did the work, we don't have what it
Right.
takes to make the best decision. We're
At
not healthy enough
those
internally.
times, I was an unhealthy person trying to pretend to be healthy,
Hmm.
and I was half of a person pretending to be whole.
Oh,
And
right.
then, so they tell you, oh, you're two halves. No, you're two whole
Two
people
halves.
that become one. And he's not my better half. I don't want half of anything. I need him to be
Right.
100%. I'm 100%. And we have to balance each other out. Um, we can't struggle with the same things. One of us has to be sound when the other might not be too good and with an attitude. And then the other one has to be a peacemaker. The other one has to be humble in order to be able to cause the other person to say, oh, okay, well, maybe I need to step back and be a little more patient, not as aggressive. So
Right.
we balance each other out. And I was attracting the bad parts of myself
Mm.
and the parts that I was ashamed of, the parts that I was guilty of, and thought that I was healed and delivered from. So once I finally dealt with myself and began to work on myself, love myself, it helped me to establish boundaries and realize, it wasn't everyone else, it was me.
Hmm.
And I chose to, formulate those relationships. I continued in them. They went for years because I didn't want to start over. I didn't want to have to be ashamed because, oh, this relationship of 6 years or 3 years or 2 years or whatever has ended and we were public and now everyone knows that, oh God, it didn't work. you know Once I got past how other people would feel, and it was about myself and how I felt, because I don't want my daughter to settle.
Mm.
I don't want her to settle. I don't want her to go through any of the things that I went through in love. And by the grace of God, she's dating now. And I can declare it and say, if they do what they're supposed to do, they'll be married soon. They love each other. Her and her guy that she's dating now, um, he's my son. Literally, I told her when she was 5 years old about him. And he's a splitting image of what I described to her when she was 5.
Mm.
And I love him as if he's my son. He looks like he actually could be my son, which is hilarious. Um, and so I know that the things that I've gone through, they weren't by chance. It was so women like me would have the opportunity to really be loved properly. Whether or not I get that, it's okay. But my daughter is going to be loved properly. My sister is going to be loved properly. My sister girlfriends are going to be loved properly because I took the time to get to know myself. I took the time to not only get to know myself, but also share the wisdom and knowledge that I have in the things in the transition and the rendering and the process with others, and I'm being transparent and letting them know that it's okay. Everything doesn't work out how you plan it to,
Right.
but
And it's
at the
okay to be single. Like
it is
it's I
fine. I
think
love
there's
it.
this idea that and the couple being together in a romantic relationship is great too,
Hmm.
but don't go try to get it because the world and society says you need to get it, or all your friends, you think all your friends have it, because trust me, they don't put, you and I were talking about, I said the reason I don't post all the good stuff, there's some good stuff because I'm the one, like if I give you kudos, when you
You're gonna
make me
tell it
mad,
all.
I'm gonna tell the world too. Like this made me mad, and this
Me
is what you did.
too. I'm
So I
honest.
just choose to keep this thing quiet and work at
Yes.
it behind the scenes rather than getting people involved in it that don't know what they're doing or just posting the what looks good for
The
you
good
guys.
stuff.
Because working with the couples, I've said this. I've never revealed names to anyone, but I've shared this story, and there's been more, but there was a really bad one because when a couple contacts me, the first thing I do is I go check their social media because I'm looking for, okay, what's going on here? I'm looking for signs. And I tell you guys, when I go look, there is no indication that there's trouble in paradise. It's
Wow.
just paradise. And one couple I will never forget. It was so bad that I said, I don't even want your money. Don't pay me, keep it. I'm done. And I was there for about 2.5 hours. I said, I don't want your money. I don't even want
Wow.
that because I thought the money came with energy. I just thought I don't want it.
Want
Keep
that
it
right.
because it was
Wow.
so bad. And when I looked on Facebook, it was so perfect.
Perfect.
And I'm like, what are you guys doing? What are you
Uh,
doing? You're lying to yourself. You can't fix something like this.
right.
So I think women make decisions thinking, oh my girlfriend or this girl, some people, somebody on Facebook that you may not know that she has a perfect relationship. That's what you see. So I
Right.
would be one of those ones, like when I give you kudos that you deserve, I'm gonna take those
Yeah.
kudos back that you don't deserve at the time. Doesn't mean
Exactly.
I'm
And be
leaving, but
honest.
yeah.
Right.
So
And
I think it's so important.
that's been the issue. I'm very confident in who I am, and I can take criticism. But my counterparts in the past, their favorite line was, "Oh, you're stripping me of my manhood. You're not allowing me to be a man." And my reply would be, "Honey, there's nothing I can do to do that. You are who you are. If you're a king, regardless of how I feel about you or what I say. You have to be confident in wearing that crown. You may put that crown down from time to time, and you may switch out the crown. You may not even have one on, but does it change the fact that you're a king? No,
Mhm.
it does not.
And if it does, it's your mindset that does
Exactly.
that. It
It
has
has
nothing to
nothing to do
do
with me.
with, and we have to stop as women and men. We have to stop wearing other
Placing
people's
blame.
robe. I'm gonna say their
Yes.
robe because I think we all have one. It's just
Yeah.
that we chose to put on, I don't know, something else.
Heirs.
Um, and I'll say I don't know. So it's in
I don't
your
know what it
whatever
is.
it's in your mindset. Nobody can take my womanhood. Nobody can take
Right.
someone's manhood. And if they do, it's my own allowing. And I've allowed it and I've did it.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
let's read some of the comments and then I want to dig into okay, let's see. Janice Smith, thank you. Thank you for listening. Cynthia says, very powerful. Hi, Tanya LA. Cynthia says, again, that is deep. And I think she was commenting on the post that came from Facebook.
Yeah.
She says, Cynthia also says, I understand that totally not being a part of someone's transition, meaning I think in this season, you don't want to be in the process of their healing. She says, especially when you know who you are.
Yeah.
Brenda Davis. Hey, Brenda. Good evening. Glad to see you back. She says, good evening, Tammy. Just tuning in. And I may read this again, you guys, because some of you guys may have missed it. Cynthia says, sometimes in a relationship, God shows you who people are, but we sometimes close our eyes or look away, trying not to acknowledge what God is showing you. Oh, definitely.
Man, I
And
agree.
Brenda says, I definitely have been there many times, staying too long in a relationship that was not working because I did not want to start over. Hmm.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
did not want to be in another failed relationship again. That's
Yeah.
that trash can baby right there. Like
Yes.
I didn't want to be in another failed relationship. That's
Right.
how we're going to talk about that a little bit, Brenda. We got to spend some time on that one. So we'll come back. Lamar J Focus says, did you get to therapy while you were getting to know yourself? I guess, I'm sorry, did you go to
Yes.
therapy while you were getting to know yourself?
Yes, I had to. Because once God began to show me, I was like, there's no way. There's no way that this is me, God. This cannot
Oh
be
my
me.
goodness.
I'm
Yes.
perfect.
Y'all, yes. Yes,
I'm
yes. Won't he
perfect.
show you
No,
your
Lord.
mirror? Won't he show you?
Like,
Like you said,
oh, we.
ugly.
And when I said I didn't even recognize the person, and then it's a total breakdown of who you were, because baby, he took me off my pedestal. I thought that my boo boo did not stink, and I was just an angel into high heavens and was doing everything perfectly correct. But once he really got down to it, it was just like, wow, I needed counseling because I was broken. I was broken, and didn't know who I was trying to figure out, well, I thought I was this person for so long. Like, well, who am I? Because I spent so much time being someone else's wife, being something to someone else that I really never even wanted to be married. I never wanted to have kids. I wanted to be single. But my second husband changed that. He made me want to desire that. And because of how he was as a man. And I never was like, there's no way. No man had ever made me want them. No man had ever made me want to even consider changing my thoughts and
Mm.
pursuing something that they want. Because I was just that stubborn and opinionated. But he made me want to shut up. He made me want to compromise. He made me want to do a whole lot of stuff that I was not normally ready to do. So,
How long was that relationship good? Like how long?
um, to be honest, it didn't start off good. We both met each other in horrible stages. So we struggle loved each other. We began to
Struggle love?
relate.
Struggle loved
We
each other.
related to each other in the most horrible things. We were each other's safety and peace in the most horrible times. He was going through a breakup in a relationship where he wasn't sure if he was the father of a child that someone had, and I was going through a divorce. And then we just became really good friends, and he ended up dating one of my friends, and she was cheating on him, and she had a fiance. And so he was just constantly going through bad things with women. I was going through bad things with men. So one day he was just like, we ought to date each other. I was like, yeah, right. That's not going to happen. I don't even like white boys. God forgive me. Y'all forgive me. I love everybody. But it was just something I never wanted to date. But he was like, so you're racist? It's like, no, I'm not, it's not something that I'm interested in. But the more I got to know him, it was just like he was just who he was, and like I said, a really great guy. Just made bad choices and decisions, unfortunately, but a really fun, person. And yeah, we were into struggle love. So he found out that the baby wasn't his. He was there for the young lady her whole pregnancy. I was in the process of my divorce, and oh my god, my first husband was like hell on wheels. He didn't want to let it go. He was in love with me. I really wasn't in love with him. It was actually supposed to be for him to get his citizenship. There wasn't any love there. It was just an arrangement. And so he ended up, falling for me and stuff. We had to go through the motions because he's going through, immigration and things like that. So I wasn't trying to fake anything. So we had to, be married. To me, I'm like, well, we're already married. It makes no sense to fake, let's give it a try. So we thought maybe, that we could, but there was no love there in my first marriage. So each time it was like I was trying to be something that I didn't want to be.
Mm.
And the whole time it was like there's something
It's
missing,
someone you
like,
didn't want to be it with either.
and somebody I didn't want to be with. So I was always in a relationship because I was attractive, because guys were always, oh please just date me. And it's like, I really am not interested in dating you. Can you just be my friend? And it's like, no. And it's like, well, God, you're a good woman, I want to settle down. It's like, that's not even what I wanted. We weren't even supposed to be here. But okay, a lot of girls say that they never get, the ring. I've had 20 proposals. I married 3. I've returned rings. I've shot people down that have asked. They call me the runaway bride.
Oh wow. How much of that
Horrible.
came from, okay, maybe this is a better question. When did you start the process of healing?
It
Or when
was
did you start to think, I got to get it together?
it was during my last marriage. My last marriage.
Wow.
I really realized that yeah, this is
So
not.
about what age? About what age?
Ooh, 2016.
Okay, so it was after the
Um,
assessment and that
yes. So,
plan.
yes. So a lot of things was happening in that last marriage, and yeah, it was horrible, and it was I had to. It really messed with my womanhood,
Mm,
my sanity.
okay.
Had me question a lot of things spiritually,
Mm,
emotionally, mentally, physically. It was horrible, horrible, a horrible, horrible experience. Um, and so it caused me to reevaluate myself um, because my last husband tried to, touch on my daughter. So to me, while I'm a forgiving person, I even forget after I've forgiven. But that's an area I have yet to absolve anybody of. I was molested and raped as a child, and there's nothing that you can tell me to make me believe that there's not something wrong with it. So you either choose to be a victim, an advocate, or a predator. My last husband chose to be a predator. He used the excuse that, it was done to him as to why he felt the need, to do whatever it was for his tendencies. But I dealt with the cheating, I dealt with the lying, and I dealt with the stealing. But, I even had church people come to me and say, oh, you got to try and make it work, not knowing what I'm going through behind closed doors, not knowing
mm.
that I'm seeking God and talking to God, and God says, hang it up and let it go. But I'm going to a church where people are telling me that I should try to make my marriage work. I don't even talk to these people because it has nothing to do with them, or I believe that it's my business. But he's going around, lying and cheating and stealing. And then our marriage was public. He ended up messing around with a really good friend of mine. And it was horrible. So it caused me to really go back to the drawing board and realize that, yeah, I can't keep marrying this same spirit in a different person. I
So do
refuse.
you believe in love at this point in life? Like, do you believe romantic love?
Yes,
Okay,
I
and so you
believe
believe that you said, I want to
everyone
be a me. Do you believe that there
everyone
is
has
a,
their mirror image.
okay.
And whatever that mirror image is for you, some people don't believe in fairy tales. I do. Fairy tales do not start out happily ever after. It's the fairy tale, the happily ever after. You're like, wow, this is how it transitions from horrible to happily ever after. And that's relationships. Love is tragic. Like, if you've ever really loved someone, sometimes those love stories are tragic and that person never wants to love again. Think of like Coretta Scott King, Lauren London. There's so many women where you could tell that they really loved who they were with. And while they went through different things that they may never admit, they missed certain things as well. And they realized at the time that, man, that was really a decent man. Maybe I should have compromised here, but he's no longer here. And the world doesn't desire love. So you have to fight for the love that you have every day. So people say that they want a relationship, but they want the microwave version of it,
Mm.
where you can't do that. You have to, there's going to be days where you're not even wanting to talk to this person, but you're going to have to talk to them. You're going to have to compromise. And it's a give and take. You can't just take, and they can't just give. You have to really be willing to help them unpack their baggage. You have to be willing to want to be their friend, even when they're getting on your nerves. So, love just isn't something that happens overnight. It takes years and times to perfect. And as we evolve and get old, people say, oh, I don't change. You do. Every day you change.
You do.
Every day Something happens to you to cause you to change, whether it's something good or something bad. And every choice and decision that you make, it has consequences. Even if those choices that you make are good, they still may have bad consequences. So in love, people don't realize how much you have to give up of yourself. You can't just, to me, in a relationship, my concern is the man. So I'm supposed to give him what he needs, what he wants, not concerned with what I'm getting, because that's his issue and problem. He's supposed to meet my needs and my wants. So then if he's
Mm.
not meeting those, then it's up to me to go to whatever higher power that we believe in, and then let the higher power, Lord, you gave me this man. So I like A, B, C, and D. He doing Z, G, and H. Lord, you're gonna have to fix it. Don't go to the man. The man doesn't work on you. He works on the God that you serve. And if you're not serving the same God, then maybe you're with the wrong man.
Lala, do you believe that most people show up, based on what you just said, that most people show up in these relationships, what can I get rather than what can I give?
Yes.
I
And
love what you
that's
said.
what I've experienced. Because I'm a giver, they fall in love with my hand, not my heart. They
Mm.
fall in love
Do
with
they get
how
to know your
people,
heart? Do you think they spend enough time to get to know your heart?
nope, they have no clue. They love how people treat them because I'm on their arm. They love how others love me in the hopes that they will love them that way, when no, I am who I am. Now, if you treat me correctly as my man, then yeah, people will love you. But a lot of times people could tell, like you said, you had stated before, yesterday, you said that it was something missing, and there was in my relationship.
Yeah,
A lot, a
yeah.
lot. You know, we didn't know each other. He lied to me. He was a musician, but I call him a magician. It was all smoke and mirrors, baby.
So you
And
guys, she's going back because I think some people came in a little bit later.
yes, I'm going
Um,
back to my
going
last marriage. Horrible.
right, and
Um,
I didn't know her, but had a brief conversation yesterday, and I told her it just felt, I don't know, it just felt like it was a disconnect. I didn't really get a lot from him, and I don't know why, but I just remember feeling like, wow, you seem
smoke and
sad and
mirrors.
disconnected, and like there's so much more that you needed and wanted from life. That's
Yes,
what it
yes,
seemed like.
yes.
Um,
And
so we
I
have
believe
some
in
more.
love.
You believe in love. Okay.
I
So
do.
Cynthia says, she says, me too. I've been there. I've been there in failed relationships. So it's important to get to know who you are. And she has a question. How many years or months did you stay in each marriage before you realized it was over?
Oh, child. My first marriage, it was over in 6 months. But because he kept contesting the divorce and wanting to work things out, it took me over a year to get out of that. My second marriage ended, in death. So we were together for a total of 4 years. Um, with Grady, it was over in the first year. But
Mm.
again, he wouldn't let me go. He wanted to make it work and tried and all this, claiming he was going to counseling and things. And I was over. It was nothing that he could have said. Had he not tried to touch my child, then I would have been willing, to work some things out. But years. So before, the men just wouldn't let me go. And we
So
weren't even
total,
living
would you say
together.
about 5 years total? About five
Most
years
of them.
total.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anywhere from 3 to 5.
Okay.
So you're in limbo for all that time, and you're with someone that you don't want to be with while they're doing what they want to do. And at those times, I wasn't dating anyone, and that's another thing. After relationships are over, you find out who the one was cheating because they're in a relationship already. They happy. My last husband was engaged, and we weren't even divorced. People were coming to me from my church, Christian people, like, girl, we were out at some restaurant and he proposed to somebody. I said, that's funny because I'm begging him for a divorce. So kind of
Mm.
hard to marry someone when you're still married.
Mm.
So yes.
Lala Cynthia says, thank you for being transparent and honest about your life.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone else to believe that it's just them. While it was me, I have to own up to my part in it, and allowing myself to be attracted to the same spirits in different people. Um, I had to, take ownership for my part in it, and then
Mm.
realizing that I no longer wanted to do that. I no longer wanted to be someone's puppet, to be imprisoned by the things that plagued me as a child. It all stems from that small child that was raped and molested, who had no one to help her. So she sought out people and things that were unhealthy in order to feel some type of healthiness. So, and coped, with things that I shouldn't have. So that goes for people as well.
I saw a post and that you just reminded me of this and something there that you said. Um, it read that if your child or if a child grew up in chaos, I think was the word, and I could be wrong, but just imagine chaos, then they would be peace would disturb them. They would be
Mm-hmm.
triggered by peace. And
Yes.
so we have to. Are you still in therapy? In are you still in therapy now?
Yes.
Uh,
It's to me it's healthy. And I don't even have like me and my therapist now, we just talk. Like it's not even any problems or issues that I'm bringing up anymore because I'm okay. Every now and then I have a bad day or something. We may talk about that. But it's just, to me, it's healthy because, like, if me and you were friends, there's some things that I don't want to dump on you because they're too heavy. And in our
mhm.
friendship, it's hard for you to remain neutral.
Right.
So if I talk to someone that's a professional, I don't have to see them every day. They're not constantly bringing up some stuff that I don't say because
Oh,
they
Lala,
think
you are preaching tonight.
like,
That's I
no, go
love
get
that.
you some help. Get someone that is neutral, that has nothing to do with you, that you don't have to see every day. Preferably someone that's not trying to medicate you. Um, and I mean, if you do need medication, take that because, there are, things that require that to help you to be balanced. But it's up to you to admit that something's not right. It's up to you to admit that you want things to be better. It's not saying that something's wrong with you. You just have to be a better you. And sometimes that requires you to realize, wow, I need to work on some stuff a
Mhm.
lot. I had to work on a lot. I had to become a totally different person. Like the woman that I am today, I was not 10 years ago at all.
Mhm.
While other people would have probably tell you, "Oh, she was great. She was nice." Mm-mm. On the inside, definitely not. People don't know I'm a antisocial person with social tendencies. I prefer to be alone, and that's just something that I've always desired. So, in believing in love, I want someone that I could be alone with. That's okay with me being in my own self and having my own space, but we're alone together and they not feel slighted because maybe I don't want to talk today. They don't feel slighted because maybe I don't want to text today. And I don't always need that face to face and the attention. Some people feel like you have to always be in contact, always have to talk, always have to be, or something's wrong. Where me and my daughter will be perfectly fine sitting in the same room, not saying anything, and have the most fun, as opposed to being around people who are talking about things that really have no substance. Um, I prefer to be alone. I prefer to be with somebody that I could be alone with. And I believe in love. I believe that it's whatever you believe love is. So if your idea of love is, you being swept off your feet, believe that. Expect that. And your words, my words, I had to change my words. I
Mhm.
had to constantly tell myself I was healed. I had to constantly tell myself I wasn't going to have another failed relationship. So, Cynthia, baby, you got to quit saying another failed relationship. You're already pre dating failure. Why? You have
I
to change
think
that.
that was I think
It was
that
somebody.
was Brenda Davis. That's the one we were going to go back to. Cynthia did have
Yes.
a question. Let me see. She said, "Are you still attending the same church?"
No, ma'am. They just Wednesday I was told I couldn't take my support animal. My support animal couldn't be on their parking lot. While I could take my support animal on Bill Street. So I won't be attending that church. I resigned my membership.
So that was the
And
same church you were with
yes,
during.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm good. So no, ma'am. I believe
Um,
in the Lord, and I have a relationship with Him outside of
that
a
church.
church.
Right. What has, and then we'll go back to, I wanted to go back to what Miss Brenda said. But what has love taught you? What has, I guess, love taught you, and what has the absence of your feeling like romantic love has never been kind to you? Um, let's see. How can I? Well, answer the first one. I'm gonna have to rephrase
Love,
that.
love has taught me that I have to be selfless. That's difficult because I'm a selfish person.
Mm,
Love has taught me that I have to concern myself with loving another person properly when I'm concerned with being loved properly because I'm a selfish person. So, love has taught me that while your feelings are justified and you should be honored, you should be loved properly. But in loving, you have to love beyond yourself. So, love goes beyond space and time. Love is unconditional. There's so many different levels of love. And that's another thing to me that people really don't know what love is. They're quick to throw in the towel. They're quick to say, oh,
mm,
well, she didn't smell right. She didn't look right. She didn't talk right. So I don't love her anymore. You don't fall in and out of love. So if you really truly love somebody, even after you have broken up with that person, you still love them. You
mhm,
still want them to be happy. You
mhm,
still want what's best for them, even though you know you guys will never ever be together because you love them for real. Where if a person tells me, oh, I hate that broad and blah, 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 and they have children with her or they've been in a relationship with them, then there's that hate, that love's turned to hate because you're still harboring stuff in your heart that has unresolved issues between you and that person. Because if you
mhm,
really love them, you're gonna love them even if they're crappy. You're gonna be like, well, they're a crappy person, they're a crackhead, they still my money, but I love them and I respect who they are. I don't deal with them. I don't put myself in a position for them to continue to do crack in my house and steal my money.
mhm.
But I love them.
Right, right.
So, love taught me that I was selfish.
Powerful.
Love taught me that I needed to change. Love taught me that I need to be more patient
Mm,
with not only others, but myself.
mm.
So,
Wow. You guys keep the questions and comments coming. Cynthia, thank you. You're putting them in there. Thank you. So I'm going to read Brenda's comment again here. She says, I definitely have been there many times, staying too long in a relationship that was not working because I did not want to start over. I did
mhm.
not want to be in another failed relationship again. And that I wanted to come back to this one just for that reason that you mentioned, because oftentimes, you guys, we will take that old man into with the new man.
Yes.
And we will create some things, but we'll also stay because I have this thing where I say most people, some people, I'll say some people, I shouldn't say most. There are a lot of people who are
Mhm.
together because they don't want to not be together for because the people will
For
talk.
the sake of what other people
Take
say
what
or
other
believe.
people are thinking. Some people get married. They walk down the aisle not wanting to,
Yes.
but they won't say, I can't do this because what are the people going to say?
Hmm, hmm,
And
hmm.
so and then there are going to be days. I feel there's this article that I read or something. I think I saw this on Facebook. I'm not sure, y'all. So can't remember exactly. But there was this couple that had been married for many, many years. And they were asked, how did you keep it together all this time? And the wife said we never allowed each other to fall out of love at the same time.
Mhm.
So if he
Mhm.
wasn't loving me, I was loving him.
Right.
And if I wasn't loving him, he was loving me.
Mhm.
And what love has taught me in my later life is you have to be grown up. You have to be
Mhm.
an adult who also
Yes.
knows how to be childlike.
Yes.
Um, my granddaughter, I love being a grandmother so much, but one of the reasons is I learned so much about life and love from them. My
Yeah.
granddaughter is 4. My grandson is 2.
Mhm.
And being the older child, this baby comes along, she
Mhm.
feels some kind of way. So I've
I
watched
mean.
her. And one day, and I think I said this on a couple of shows prior to this one, my neighbor had given them both some cars for their birthday. They just had birthdays in January. And so my granddaughter is 4 and was doing pretty well with the car, didn't need much help. My grandson's 2. So I was helping him. And I don't know, maybe an hour or so had gone past, and I was just focused on him. And she stopped and she looked and she started crying and she said, "What about me, Grandma?"
Mhm.
It was, but what I told my son was, what if we as adults would
We're
not
willing to admit
would
that.
just say, "What about me? I'm
Mhm.
feeling left out. You
Mhm.
hurt me." I said, kids will express it. They will say it. And so we
Yes.
must not shut them down. We must allow them to feel and take responsibility for helping them heal at
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
age, so they know that they can, it's okay for you to say how you feel. You're right. Grandma should have at least, come over and
Right.
checked on you, asked you how you were doing. But an
Right.
adult would have left mad, maybe never spoke to me again.
Again, and
Yes,
never told you that they were offended
yes,
or that their
yes,
feelings were hurt.
yes. I did it.
Yes.
I did it. I did it.
Yes.
Yes.
And
So
um that's another thing that love has taught me, to be childlike
yes.
and to be willing to admit, things. I even apologize when I know that I'm not at fault,
Mhm,
especially with men, because that's the first thing that they'll say, women don't do this, women don't do that. Where to keep the peace, it's like, honey, you're right. I was wrong. I should not have done A, B, C, and D, which may be true. And I could even not believe that you deserve an apology. But in order to keep the peace and love on you, because you're not loving me right now,
mhm,
it's, hey, I'm okay. I'm waving the white flag. It's okay. And so it'll cause them to digress, or, they may be stubborn or whatnot. But I had to learn to be patient, to be childlike, and to admit, hey, I'm hurting. I'm not feeling good today. Maybe we have to do this another day.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
yes, I believe in
Have,
love.
have
And
you gotten to a point where you recognize your triggers, that things
yes,
that trigger you?
you know what? Because of my past is public. So men tend to seek me out thinking that they're going to be able to do certain things. So what irritates me is they assume that I'm that woman in that time, when, oh, well, I can't do this because, oh, you might do that, or that triggers me, where, don't do me. I'm
Mhm,
healed. I'm delivered. You don't have to tiptoe around me. You're not anybody that I've ever been with prior to, because I've made it a point not to attract the same spirits in different people. And so now I can see it far ahead, and I can tell a man immediately, we aren't even going to be able to be friends. Thank you for your gesture. And I don't want to discourage you from doing it to other women. Go for it. But I'm not her.
how much
Then,
do you share with, like, well, I guess, well, how much, say, if you meet you, right?
mhm.
How much, and I guess when would you share, like,
When I met me, it was all or nothing. So I put it all on the table. This is what it is. And this is where I'm at now. This is where we can be now. Don't get ahead. Don't. have precursors and prior intentions.
So you said
So
when you met you.
when I met me,
Okay. So you
so
had a glimpse of you.
yes.
Okay.
And even in saying that, I was like, oh God, do I really want me and me? Whew, I don't think so, Lord. Can I go back to the drawing board and can we kind of, and yeah, no, because I'm a bit much, but I need me a me because I know what it's like to not be loved properly.
Mm.
I need me
What
and
is
me because
properly? What does properly look like to you?
properly loving someone to me is accepting someone's flaws and all,
Mm.
being willing to be patient with that person in their transition in life, in whatever stage you may meet them in, and allow them to be who they are and not try to force yourself on them and dictate how they're to bloom or evolve, because I know who I am. It's never been a question. It's whether or not I was willing to continue to transform into that person. Sometimes it took me years to want to do a thing that I knew I needed to do, all because selfish. I want my way. I want to do it my way. And so having to get to know myself, getting counseling and realizing you have to be patient with you. You can't rush the process. And I'm
Mm.
a perfect imperfection. So, and it's a balance. You got,
She does not know this, you guys, but she is explaining her first language to a T. I'm
yes,
telling you, when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, he's
that's
gonna."
her.
And I told her before we go into live, I was like, "He's gonna have to be all like together. His shit's gonna have to be
And
together and some."
when I met me, I was like, I am not ready. Oh my God. No, this cannot be. What? Not right now. Mm-mm, mm-mm. No. So had to compartmentalize, dial it
Mm.
back because I saw the red flags on the field. And
Of course you did because it was you, right?
I don't want to lose this game. This is
Mm.
my last Super Bowl. I'm retiring after this. So I'm gonna go sit on the bench. I don't took a timeout and I'm gonna wait for me. I'm gonna wait for me to get it together.
Wow.
However long that takes. It won't take long
Wow.
because I know me.
My battery's going down.
So
Wow. So I have, let me plug, my battery's going down. 1 second here. Let me plug this up and then we're gonna have to have you back.
yeah,
Um I almost like I need to change the title.
yeah.
Now like the title doesn't fit it. Like I get it, but the new one, the next one will be I have to play with it. But
And I definitely I'm
um
gonna do the assessment. Um definitely gonna do that. I'm gonna do that tonight.
okay. And you guys, what we're gonna do, I still want to read what your post again.
Yes, ma'am.
Because again, we had some people come in later. We have a comment from Marilyn that says, I agree that forgiveness does not intend for a person to continue to put themselves in a position of abuse, control, or whatever the issue. This is a wonderful platform. Thank you so much for sharing. I agree, Marilyn. And you guys, I want you guys to know I did not, the things I've heard tonight, I did not know.
Yes. Yes.
I did not. I
Surprise.
saw I saw a post that I'm telling you, like as soon as I read it, I was in her inbox. I was like, "Will you please do this, do a show?" Because
Mhm.
if we all be honest, and I want to read something else too that I found, but if we all be honest, romantic love, whatever kind of love, some days you're gonna be like, excuse me, or not excuse me, like, I
Don't
don't
touch
want
me.
this shit. I don't want this shit, and you either. You
Don't
know,
touch
like
me. Don't
you
look at me. Don't kiss
yeah,
me.
so
Leave me
nothing. Like,
alone.
dude, you are crazy. But some days I'm sure he looks at me the same way, like, Heifer, you are crazy.
Yes.
And I'll be like,
You
yes,
bald headed
I
heifer.
am. Are you just
Eat
finding
this sandwich. Get
yeah,
out of
you
here.
just finding
Yes.
that out? Like,
Yes.
so
Yes.
I did the therapy, like I did it. And for you guys who are in Memphis, Cordova, whatever, I'm gonna tell you, Bellevue. It's a church, but it was, if you say I cannot afford it, but they have free biblical
Wow.
counseling, and they
Mhm.
don't beat you over the head with the Bible, but like Lala said, it's somebody for you to sit there. And I've never heard anybody say what you said earlier about, and I wish I had, some things, and maybe it's just some friends. You can't tell some friends because they won't support you, they will judge you. Like I had that happen, and I'm just gonna say it. I walked away for probably I will say for sure the final time, but it's just like I'm over you. Like
Yeah.
I don't need a friend to judge me. I need you to be my friend through this season,
Support.
through this occasion,
Yeah.
no matter how. You tell me your thoughts, but don't try to play me and judge me
Don't
in
try
front
to
of
make
people.
me feel less
Don't.
than because you don't
Especially when
understand.
your shit is stank. You know, that part. That's when
Yes.
you got a pamper on full of shit.
Yes.
Just I'm not apologizing for that because people will do that. And so I get what you're saying. Like or maybe you need to know who to tell what.
You know, in all honesty, I don't believe that we should share things with our friends, or even if we call them our best true friend, because I had a best friend, and God had told me in the beginning that she really wasn't my friend.
Mm-mm.
I knew that. But I tried to make her a seasonal forever, the seasonal person into a forever person. And
Mm,
the whole time, she was jealous of me. The whole time, she was undermining me spiritually,
mhm,
emotionally, mentally, and physically. But because I loved her so much, I was willing to sacrifice
mhm,
myself in order to help her see we're the same. Why are you jealous? You've got everything. You've got the money. You've got the looks. You've got these things that I wish I had. But you're jealous of me because I'm playing with this pen and I'm content with this pen that I can't even afford. You could buy the pen. You can afford the ink. But because I'm so happy with this, she didn't even buy my kid a birthday present. And we were friends for decades. She would tell her happy birthday, and she's a giving person. She would buy me things on my birthday, but she never supported my child in anything. So I knew that she was jealous because she can't have kids and different things. It was, oh, that's how God do you type stuff, like a
mhm,
slight diss, but and after a while, God was like, just cut it. You're not going to grow. She's not. Let her go. Everything that you
mm,
tell her, there's always oh, how's God going to do this for you? Why would God do this for you? Why wouldn't he? Faith and
mm,
reality don't mix. So I don't
mm,
know what God you believe in, but the God I believe in, there are no limits.
mm.
And
Wow.
so I can hear God loud and clear.
Lala, this has been good. You guys, I want to read, just in case you missed this. Um, I want to read the post that led us here tonight. And then maybe I'll share the other stuff that I had did some research on. We'll come back and do part two of this. Okay, is that good with you?
Yes,
We'll
yes.
we'll talk about love and relationship and women more and our stuff and healing and therapy, all the stuff. We'll just talk about it all. But the post read, and this was on January 26th. It says, "I no longer have a desire for a husband or a companion. This last month, I discovered a lot about myself. I don't desire to share my space, energy, time, or money. Romantic love has not been kind to me. While I know how to love a man romantically, I've never been loved properly by a man. Life has been hell on earth for me. So I am how I am because I wish I had me. I had a me. Every chance I get, I tell my testimony. If you desire to have a husband, here is a statement just for you. I support and encourage you to be in love romantically, properly. Love yourself properly first. I pray you receive your heart's desires in the name of Jesus the Christ. Amen." Then she writes, "I am his son, wrapped in air as my clothes. I take him to the seventh heaven. He's mine beyond space and time. I am his peace. He breathes better with me. Away from me, he craves all of me. And Psalm. I encourage him. I support his ideas and opinions because I respect him. I respect him because he is consistent, faithful, loyal, and trustworthy. I adhere to his advice because he demonstrates to me daily how disciplined and focused he is. The way he provides for me and makes plans for us shows me he's a man of his word. The way he honors his mother proves to me he serves our Heavenly Father wholeheartedly. Y'all, that is deep and
Yeah,
so beautiful.
man.
And you say God told you to write that and put post, and you're like, I'm not feeling this. I'm not
I
feeling
had it as a only me thing, and I was like, Lord, don't do me, cause you, I,
Don't you love it when you get to the point you can talk to God just like He really
like
is
he
right
sounds
there in
like
your back?
Tony Soprano in my head, literally, cause I'm just that tough. He can't baby me at all. But it was, and I had it as only me for a whole 2 days. And when I say I
Mhm.
couldn't sleep, but yes, and again, it's based off of me when I met me, and that person is the epitome of that, and it's based off of also my second husband. Like, regardless of how our story ended, he was a great man, and he
Mhm.
taught me so much. I loved him. I loved him. And that's my first time actually ever saying loved. Like, it was love for a while. I loved him. And yeah. So
So, how do you, and this will be my last question, unless you, I still have time. So, unless you want to,
I have time. I don't have anything to do.
okay. How do you deal with, let me see, how have you dealt with the incident that happened with your second husband?
I didn't have a choice. I had to go to counseling because I went through two trials with the possibility of a third. And I cannot. And then at that time, I was also going through custody battles with my own family and his family. So
Mhm.
I'm fighting for my life and possibly having my daughter.
Okay.
So mentally, I was spent. So I had to get counseling. I had to seek out something other than myself and my higher power, because mentally, emotionally, and physically, I was just turned and spent. I had no feelings. I was just in autopilot. I wasn't sure if my life was over, and then I wasn't sure if I was going to lose my daughter, and then the man that I love was dead. So we had planned. We had plans. We planned for her, and now all that's up in smoke. Again, love is tragic. That night, um, I should have been more patient. That night, I shouldn't have gotten upset. But I had flown from the States to Turkey, the country. Within 72 hours, my husband was dead. Little to no sleep, had a newborn. She was 5 months at the time. So like he drank, I was basically a drunk person as well with the lack of sleep, too. So we were two drunk people trying to make lifelong decisions.
And you
And
had made a trip to go see, to have a good time,
to
and
go
it
back
turned
to
just that quick.
Turkey just that quick. They said he
Mhm.
had stopped drinking. He hadn't been drinking the whole time that I was gone. That night, he drank. And he was belligerent, like all kinds of stuff had happened prior to him getting to me. So it was like the enemy himself came for us that night, if I were to put it in a spiritual
Mhm.
sense. And to be
Wow.
completely honest, he made a mistake. He thought that I loved him more when I loved our daughter more than I loved myself. While I loved him more than I loved myself, which I should have never done, I loved my daughter more. So I chose to fight for her that night. While I didn't care about my life, And it didn't matter to me, but I wanted her to have one. So having to do it by myself without him every day is a reminder, that he's not here. But I remember everything that we discussed. I've done everything that we've discussed. She's the woman that she is today because we loved each other, because she was made in love, because we talked about what we wanted to do for our child. And I made sure that I honored those things, even though, people assume so much based off of the black and white of it, the news clippings, the what they believe when they really didn't know. They didn't know we were really friends. They didn't know that we talked. They had no clue. Reading people's statements and witness statements and having to come home and pretend that I didn't read those things. Blatant lies of what people did or what they thought. That was my life that was in limbo, and the life of my child. People weren't honest about a lot of stuff for their career's sake. Because again, it was the federal government's first time ever trying a civilian for something that happened on a military installation. When it came up when I won my appeal and we were to go the third time, they're working with my attorney because they knew. They keep coming with plea deals. I said, I don't care what you say. As long as you give me time served, I don't care what you say. I have my story. You have yours. It is what it is. My child will know the truth. I'm not going to lie to her. I kept everything. When she was about 10, we went over it. And she's my best friend. So, love her to death.
Wow.
And I'm just now getting my life back. Just now getting my life back. So God finally put me on a platform to be able to tell my story, while others had their idea and their side of my story. They can't tell my story.
Right.
So
I love that. And they can't live your life. Can't tell your story, can't live your life. So we worry about people who can't quite get it together for themselves. We try to impress upon people or on people who have not impressed themselves with their own lives.
Yes.
With their own life. So I want to read this before, and I see you, Kevin Lang. You said, I don't get this title. True, I'm late. Can you recap a little, please? Absolutely not.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. You got to go back. He said, sounds like a good guy. I think he was about the reading and said hello. So thank you, KL. But we cannot. We've been on since 8:30. Go back and listen though, or I will bring you up to speed a little bit later if you want. I'll give you a call. Not tonight. Not tonight. But I want to read this before we go, and some of you may have heard it, but this show has reminded me of this. I love, love, love this. So it says we're seeking that special person who is right for us. But if you've been through enough relationships, you begin to suspect there's no right person, just different flavors of wrong. Why is this? Because you yourself are wrong in some way, and you seek out partners who are wrong in some complementary way. But it takes a lot of living to grow fully into your own wrongness. And it isn't until you finally run up against your deepest demons, your unsolvable problems, the ones that make you truly who you are, that we're ready to find a lifelong mate. Only then do you finally know what you're looking for. You're looking for the wrong person, but not just any wrong person, the right wrong person, someone you lovingly gaze upon and think, this is the problem I want to have. I will find that special person who is wrong for me in just the right way. Let our scars fall in love.
That's perfect. Yes.
That's
It's
like Galloway,
perfect.
Isn't that perfect?
It's perfect.
That
It's
might talk
perfect.
a little, might speak to you on your meat, finding
It
you your
did.
meat.
It did. I found my me.
Yeah.
So it forced me to face my demons. So
Yeah.
I have to continue to allow God to work on me. If I don't, I run the risk of losing me.
Mm.
So, and you only get so many chances. So I'm willing to work on me so that I can get me.
Get you.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes, yes.
thank you so, so much for sharing. I'm like Cynthia
Thank
said,
you.
because man, it takes thank you. I'm just gonna say thank you.
Yes, ma'am. It's nothing but God, to be completely honest, because I didn't want to tell my story. I say it all the time. No one cares. No one cares. But people do care, and people need to know that, other people feel the way that they feel, and that it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to admit that you don't feel right. It's okay that to admit that maybe you don't want to be in love. Maybe you do. All my life, I've been in relationships with people I didn't even want to be in relationships with because society will say you got to get married, you have kids, this is what you're supposed to do, something's wrong with you if you don't want to do that. I honestly never wanted that. I never wanted to be married, never wanted to have kids. I wanted to live my life and be that sister girlfriend. I was traveling and doing her own thing. But again, my second husband ignited something in me that made me want to be a housewife when
Mm.
never. Oh my God. And have kids and get married? Boys, you're crazy. No. And adamant. I was adamant that no, I'm good. Mm-mm.
Mm.
My first marriage was an arrangement. Like,
Wow.
no,
Now, where are
no.
you originally from?
California.
California. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
California. Southern California. Yes. But I call Memphis home now. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm looking forward to doing this assessment. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I'm
me
gonna do
either.
that
I'm
tonight
gonna be
for
sitting up
sure.
tonight waiting on it because I'm gonna print it out and dig deep into it, and maybe
Yes.
that can kind of be coming back, and we can talk about love some more.
And we get
And
to have that one on one because we didn't get to
right,
do that.
right. We'll have that, and then kind of talk about how it has helped you, you know, understand yourself better as well, and what you
Hmm.
will do with it. And I think that'll be a big help to you and to people because it's so
Yeah.
hard. I'm telling you guys, it's so hard to push this life language. And I think one of the things that we do to ourselves is we avoid um, holding ourselves accountable for where we are and who we are and where we're going. We kind of pretend that we're okay and the things that happened to us did not affect us. And
Hmm.
maybe that's true for some, but
Yeah.
I doubt it. I think I know that what we go through as children affect us as adults,
Yes.
um, and we have to deal with those things. We have to confront those things in order to live not perfect lives, but healthy lives.
Hmm.
So
Yes. I had to admit that I was not
yeah,
okay when I pretended to be superwoman to everyone but myself.
I did that for a long time, and whatever. Now I'm like whatever.
Like, boo, today is not the day. You might want to try
Right,
me tomorrow.
right, 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 right. I can do you, but if our energy is consistently off, then
It's
we're in the
off.
wrong space. We're both
Yes.
sharing the wrong space.
And
Period.
I quickly unplug and we're good.
Right,
And honey, ain't no hard feelings, but I'm not vibing with your energy. It's throwing me off. Your
right,
heart meter is off.
right.
I don't need mine to be off.
And that's okay. We have to know that that's okay. That's okay.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
thank you. Take that assessment so I can get it tonight,
I
print it
will.
out, read it in the
I'm getting ready to do it
morning.
now.
Thank you
Yeah.
again. I mean, really, this was a blessing for me, for the
Yes, me
audience,
too. Me
and it's going
too.
to be out there for people to listen to the recording. We'll
Thank
do this
you.
again, maybe sooner than you guys think, because I had a cancellation.
Cool.
But we'll keep you updated.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.